And then I just signed it.
Good evening. Welcome to the Mayor and City Council meeting for the month of May of 2022. We'll begin with our pledge to the flag. I'll ask Councilwoman Fuller to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you, Councilwoman. Let the record reflect that all council members are present and accounted for this evening. We'll begin this evening with our approval of the minutes of the April 6th and April 11th regular meetings, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to, Diane,
So moved.
And a second, please.
second?
Any discussion on the minutes as presented to you? Everything accurate as far as we're all concerned? All right. On the motion to approve the minutes of the April 6th and April 11th regular meetings from Councilwoman Foster and second from Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. All right. I'll now ask of the council if they have any conflicts of interest over anything on the agenda this evening.
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, up for introduction tonight, we have Resolution 2022-06. This is our capital improvement program. I'm going to go back to Mr. Wieprecht on this, see if you have any updates to provide to us this evening.
Just, we are going to include the $100,000 for the creamery, as was noted Wednesday night. We've settled on a inflationary factor of 3% a year, beginning with the 2024 fiscal year. And that will change. So we're not 100% on how best to present that. So what we've talked about so far is just doing that on an annual basis so that we kind of have an annual planning figure that recognizes inflationary factors. So we did go back, looked at the consumer price index for the past 9 years, and with the exception of one 6-month interval, it's been below 2% until very recently. So we did see a spike as high as 6%, but we're hoping that's not going to continue for indefinitely. So we settled on 3% as being a reasonable safety factor. So that's going to be added into the plan before you see it next time and before the Planning Commission sees it towards the end of this month. So.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to introduce.
Motion to introduce the capital improvement program for the fiscal years 2022 to 2028.
Very good, and a second, please.
Second.
Any discussion, questions, concerns? Okay. So on the motion to introduce Resolution 2022-06 by Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti and a second from Councilwoman Foster, those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Very good. Moving in for adoption this evening, we have Resolution 2022-05. This is our monthly water allocation for the month of May. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All right, and up for discussion.
All of the math checks out. I
All
did
of
it
the
by
math
hand
checks
again.
out. Very good. We were missing that. Any additional comments, questions on the water allocation? Very good. On the motion to approve Resolution 2022-05 from Councilman Fuller and the second from Councilman Hand, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Very good. Back again, Mr. Wieprecht, do you have any updates to your report?
Nothing since Wednesday.
Very good. Any questions for the city manager on his report or the departmental reports as they've been presented to you? Okay. Mr. Gullo, do you have any updates from your legal report this evening?
Yes, Mayor, Council, you know that we're going to have the closing of the public hearing on the Sewells on June 1st at 7:30. That is the only item of business, so the meeting will call to order. The mayor will handle it by asking for public hearing, any comments. It's up to you whether you're allowing people to speak again. We do know who those people were, so it seemed to me not to cloud the record that you may say people who have not commented get to talk again. And then you'll make a motion and second to close the hearing, and that will be it. You'll wait for your discussion on the matter until July. We're going to put it on the July agenda in the work session. So it should be a fairly quick meeting if you don't have a lot of people who want to talk. That's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Gullo on his report this evening? All right. With that, we smoothly move into new business. The monthly financial report. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second, please? Is there any discussion on the monthly financial report as presented? All right. Hearing none on the motion to approve the monthly financial report from Councilwoman Foster with a second from Councilwoman Fuller. All in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Very good. Moving into our accounts payables, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Comments, concerns, questions? Very good. With nothing on the motion to approve the accounts payables from Councilman Haynes and the second from Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Very good. Next item of business is approval of the mowing bid. You have a memo in your packet from Parks and Rec Director Lorena Vicar showing the single response we received from the bid. 10 contractors received the RFP, 3 came to the pre-bid, and 1 submitted a bid. The total potential annual expenditure here is $56,000. I'll entertain a motion, and please specify the motion.
Move to award the bid to, is that Eckert?
Eggers Lawn Service.
Yeah, Eckert's Lawn Service in the amount of
Well, potential.
$56,000.
Correct. Let me, for a point of order, I'll go to Mr. Weeprick. How do you want this specified? Based on the rates or, because we have a few different items here.
Right, this one's,
A little bit tricky because we also have potential additional mowing.
right. I think the absolute clearest way to do it would be to do it line by line, as is in Lorena's recommendation memo, with the weekly mowing based on 30 cuts per year at $54,000, monthly mowing based on 8 months per year at $1,200. That contracted cost is $55,200, with additional mowing up to $56,000 total.
Well, the potential additional mowing, 800 cents. Those two figures, contracted cost and potential additional mowing together, create total potential annual expenditure of $56,000. That's how we get that number. Okay.
Right.
Councilman Foster, does that work for your motion?
I was going to say, that's fine.
That's perfect. Do I have a second to that convoluted motion?
Second.
Very good. Any discussion? Very good. On the motion to award the mowing bid to Eckers Lawn Service in the total potential annual expenditure of $56,000, motion being made by Councilman Foster, second from Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti. All in favor of awarding the bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. All right, it shall be done. Next, we have property acquisition and removal from growth area regarding the Syrian property. We're going to begin by asking our IT Director to put up a map. While we wait for that, who would like to speak? Mr. Geller, Mr. Weebrick?
Well, to refresh you from what we talked about on Wednesday, this is a two-part exercise. The Syrian property is important to the city for two reasons. One is in the growth area right now, which means the city is slating that for future expansion. But the most important part of that growth area piece is the fact that a potential bypass alignment will go across a portion of their property. So that's issue one. Issue two is the city has been working with them for the past several years to purchase that area, which is about 4 acres of their whole property. That would basically be the area where the alignment would cross. So they are somewhat agreeable, meaning somewhat, we haven't worked out the terms, but they said that we could probably come to an agreement. The unspoken part of that agreement is if the city acquires that portion, because we're buying it from them, then we no longer need it in the growth area, and they would like to be out of the growth area so they can put the remainder of the land in ag preservation. And so that's really what has to happen. The decisions that you'll make after you look at the details tonight, we don't need a decision on money, as I told you. We'll come back to you for that. We don't need a decision on authority to enter into an agreement with them, because you gave that to us several years ago. And we don't need a finite decision on voting them out of the growth area. We just need to have some language that starts the process, like we'd like to pursue the process of removing them from the growth area, something like that. Because we don't want it done now. We want it all to be done and come together at one point in time in the future, if that makes sense. So those are what we need. The map's up. Mayor, you can probably walk them through, or however you can get the pointer on it.
Okay. Can everyone see my pointer on there? Hello. So the Syrian property is partially in our growth area. Our growth area is represented by the red line. The dashed lines here are current municipal limits. The Syrian property is kind of an hourglass shape here. This is the south side of it, narrows, comes back up. The portion that we are discussing and most interested in is this kind of polygon up here where our right-of-way for the proposed bypass, which would go from Antrim Boulevard and follow that around and shoot up that way somewhere. This is property in question, I believe 4.4 acres, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the intent is that we would execute a purchase of this portion of the property. The hope is that we would append it to county property here to the east of it, and then we would remove everything south of it in our growth area on that property, take that out of our growth area. Is that correct? Okay. Questions? Does everyone know where we're looking at on the map here? Okay. Because this is what, Windy Hills?
Yes.
That would be the closest development.
Okay, very good. And then Carol Vista over here to the east. So doing this further shows our commitment to pursuing the Antrim Boulevard extension being our bypass, which I think is important that we take steps towards that to show the county and the state that this is something that we find is necessary. I believe 98% of residents would agree with that. So the decision you're looking for this evening from the council is?
Is to agree to move towards taking that piece, that area out of the growth area.
Perfect. Okay. I will entertain a motion to pursue the purchase of the 4.4 acres and remove the remaining from the growth area.
Motion to, Motion to approve pursuit of the 4.4 acres in exchange for removing the remainder of the property out of the growth area.
Very good. Do I have a second to that? That was a busy one. All right. Any additional discussion?
I think it just makes sense, if they're willing to part with that property and in exchange for us letting them out of the growth area. I'm all for agricultural preservation.
Right. If that is the desire of the property owner, I support it wholeheartedly. Very good. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion from Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti with a second from Councilman Fuller, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. All right, you are directed to do so. Next, we have property removal from growth area, the Stapleton property. We're going to travel north. There we go. Let's see. Actually, I want to show that up there. Very good. So, to kind of show you where we're talking about, this here is 194 heading north towards Pennsylvania, as you see Fringer Road. This is the Bollinger Park property out here. And this property with the odd zigzag at the top of it is the Stapleton property. North of that is another property that was entered into a tree bank with the county. So it's in a preserve of sorts. So that would be removed from the growth area as well because it's no longer developable. And then the Stapleton property here, they're requesting that we remove it from the growth area because he would like to sell it to the current tenants and they would like to put it in ag pres. Anything to add from staff?
That's the same mechanics and same outcome. That if you want to make a motion, it would be to pursue that, not to do it.
But to pursue, very good. So with that, let me entertain a motion for that.
I move that we pursue removing the Stapleton property from the growth area.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Questions, comments?
Just one question.
Yep.
If, decades down the line, and maybe this is just for my own education, but if somebody wanted to re-enter the growth area, is that an option?
Well, it depends. If it's in ag pres, no.
Right.
It would not be an option. Our growth area, for the most part, is determined by your surrounding ag pres would be the main thing. I think we've pretty much butted up to those points. In this case, if the owner of that property decided to not pursue ag pres, they instead want to develop it, they could come back to us and ask to be put back into the growth area as long as there's no encumbrances on it at that time. Does that sound correct?
Right. So just so you're clear how this fits into the overall puzzle. The growth area is part of the comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan gets reviewed every 7 years, 10 years. And that's when the city makes these determinations. So that's normally when it happens. We could call this like an out of cycle, because typically we wouldn't entertain these out of cycle, but there's other reasons why it would be important to do so. So during the next comprehensive plan, there's going to be an examination of all the growth area and whether it should shrink or expand. So it happens regularly, and that's when you can make those determinations.
So with this, if we go through the process and we declare, yes, we plan on taking this out of the growth area, it does not create a new map right away. Basically, we're telling them we intend on removing it from the growth area. They can pursue their ag pres, and then at our next comp plan, our map will be redrawn without that property at that point. Is that correct?
That's the plan at this time. We're not sure if that will exactly work for them, but it's at least our first step.
I guess it depends on if they're going for county or state ag pres, correct? Because county's good with us saying we intend, and the state says we need it free and clear.
Right.
Okay. Questions on that? Okay. With that, on the motion to pursue property removal from the growth area for the Stapleton property from Councilman Hand, with a second from Councilwoman Foster, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Very good. Thank you all for that. And our next item are council member reports. I'm going to begin with Councilman Haynes to provide a report.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Nothing to report this evening, okay? Councilwoman Foster, what do you have for us tonight?
On April 30th, I attended the MML board meeting in Annapolis, our spring meeting. The last meeting for this year will take place in Ocean City. And that's it.
Very good. As a reminder, we do have the MML Summer Conference coming up, and as a result, our June meetings will be modified. We're simply doing one meeting on the Wednesday where we will discuss and vote that evening, and then no Monday meeting in June. Mayor Pro Tem Vigliotti, what do you have for us?
I have the departmental report for the police for the month of April 2022. With respect to training and education for April, in-service training and continuing education units in which all patrol officers participated in included constitutional and community policing and de-escalation and minimizing use of force. With respect to specialized training, Senior Patrol Officer Sakadalis participated in Field Training Officer Certification course, a 21-hour course. Sergeant Jesse Castlar participated in Community Policing, Improving Efficacy and Building Trust, an 18-hour course. And Police Administrative Assistant Haley Engels participated in Positive Psychology. As for the actual departmental report itself, the total number of dispatcher-generated calls for service in April were 309. The total number of citations issued, 32. The total number of adult arrests were 9. The total number of warnings issued were 21. And the total number of juvenile arrests were 2. And that's it from me for this month.
All right, thank you. And Councilman Fuller, what do you have for us?
All right, well, obviously the fishing derby got rained out after I went out of my way to make the announcement on Wednesday. They rescheduled that for May 14th at Roberts Mill from 8 to 12. And then coming up May 21st is our Wine, Art, and Music Festival. That'll be 11 to 4 at Memorial Park. And our Memorial Day celebration will be on Memorial Day. The ceremony at 10 at the War Memorial at Memorial Park. Parades at 1 p.m. starting at the Legion. There's going to be more details to follow on our Taneytown Parks and Rec Facebook page. And our next Parks and Rec meeting will be this Wednesday at 6:30.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Hand, what do you have for us?
At the end of April, there was a delegation or action item visit for Frederick Street Commons, a minor subdivision into 2 bits. And after the discussion, that was approved, the preliminary minor subdivision, with the conditional approval that all remaining comment letters meet CDM Smith and city staff approval. Let's see, Meads Crossing Community Center, the community pool permit has been issued, big news, up in the north of Taneytown. And I want to thank city staff, Hale and Weeprecht. April was good for sources of education for the Planning Commission. Discussion about any differences between Carroll County and City Taneytown concept plans and procedures. Let's see, education on the Taneytown site development process. Preliminary and concept to final and waiving what's involved with that. Nice resource was shared by Mr. Hale, Guide to County Municipal Planning Process, Union Bridge, Westminster, New Windsor, so we're not alone, like how we all move about and think about the master plan and how the funds are shared between towns and the county commissioners. So very appreciative of the educational bits that were shared in April. And the next meeting is May 23rd at 7:30.
Excellent, thank you very much. As I sit here and make a list of everything upcoming, I realize my schedule's really busy right now. I want to start by mentioning that this week is National Police Week. If you see any of our fine officers around the city, please be kind to them as you normally are. I thank them for what they do. They definitely deserve it for the tremendous work that they do in our community. It was mentioned this Saturday is a rescheduled fishing derby. It's also bulk trash day at Memorial Park. If you have large amounts of trash you need to get rid of and not pay the landfill for, take it down to the park and they'll all take care of it. Reminder to council that May 19th, we do have our joint Carroll County, Frederick County MML chapter meeting in Mount Airy. May 21st Wine Fest we discussed. We discussed Memorial Day ceremonies. I know we have some great speakers coming for the Memorial Day ceremony at 10 o'clock that morning, so please join us there. And of course, the parade's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be our, I guess, second annual parade now. Sounds right to me. June 2nd, I'll be very honored to attend the graduation for FSK High School. The class of 22 will be graduating at 9 in the morning.
I know, I'll be attending as well.
Glad to hear that. That's,
me too.
You'll be there as well. See, we have a whole bunch of people at 9 in the morning for a graduation.
Yeah, I had to read it 3 times to make sure I was looking at it.
I'm used to it being at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, that was ideal.
Well, the nice thing about doing it at 9 in the morning, it's like you get it out of the way and you got the
Right.
rest of the day
I
to
like
do
it,
whatever.
kinda.
That's okay.
Then that way the kids can do whatever they want to do.
They do it anyway. June 4th, I announced this on my Facebook page. I'll say it here. I am hosting an Mayor's Open Forum. It's kind of a pseudo town hall. I'm inviting everyone to come to the library at 11 a.m. and I'll be there to answer any questions you have with answers that I'm allowed to tell you. So don't ask me sensitive legal stuff. If you have thoughts, opinions, concerns, that's your time to come yell at me. If you like what we're doing, please come share that with me too, to kind of combat the negative that I hear. But definitely want to be there to answer any questions. It runs from, I think, 11 to 1 at the Taneytown Public Library. As I mentioned before, we're having a single council meeting in June. That'll be June the 8th at 7:30 right here. For council and for everyone else to be aware, most of the council will be away for the MML Summer Conference from June 12th to June 15th. And also the week of June 13th through the 18th is our Taneytown Firemen's Carnival this year. So hope everyone can make it out for that and help them raise some of the money that they couldn't do the last couple of years. And I think that kind of takes me through June at this point. So I have nothing additional to add. Is there anything additional from the council? Everyone's happy? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Thank you all. Have a great night.